If you're in a work environment and it feels like you're walking on eggshells, you're having to deal with microaggressions and bullying, it feels as if you don't have a voice and you just have to be invisible, chances are you're not imagining it. And chances are you are in a toxic work environment. And those spaces can be draining, they are exhausting, and they are not sustainable. In today's video, we're going to talk about how to survive in a toxic work environment and how to know when it's time to stop surviving and start choosing yourself. So let's have a chat. As a transformational life coach, I work with high performing professionals who are either climbing the corporate ladder or looking to transition into their own purpose-led businesses. And I've seen how some of the most capable people can be worn down by environments that just don't value them. And I too was in a space where it felt like the higher I climbed was the more I had to hide parts of myself. The irony of it was I was supporting campaigns that spoke about bringing your whole self to work, but it felt like I had to hide parts of myself just to be able to fit in. And that's not a healthy space to be in, because your peace, your power, and your potential is worth protecting. The sad thing is that toxic work environments aren't rare, but they can at times be difficult to spot. So the first thing is to recognize the signs of toxicity, because you can be in those environments but not recognize it as such. And the first step in protecting your energy is naming exactly what it is you're going through. The reason why it isn't always easy to identify toxic situations is because they operate under unspoken rules. It might be that you're in a space where overwork is glorified, but it looks like commitment. So if you're in a space where you have to work from 9 to 5 and you stay until 8 p.m. and nothing is said, but you come in at 9:02 and there has to be a meeting with the manager, that is a toxic work environment. In those spaces, overwork is glorified, but it comes under the guise of being committed, and so you don't recognize it as toxicity. If you are in a space where boundaries are being ignored, disrespect is being normalized, there are microaggressions to the point where you're starting to question whether or not you're overreacting, you are in a toxic work environment. In those spaces, bullying and undermining can be disguised as constructive feedback. You could be putting in so much effort, but the only time it's recognized is if you slip up and you're walking on eggshells, trying not to say the wrong thing to upset your manager or other co-workers. Those are all signs of toxic work environments. The most dangerous part about being in a toxic work environment is how it makes you doubt yourself. I remember being part of an office where there were certain people within there who just did not get along, to the point where they were nearly coming to blows. There was a lot of undermining, there was a lot of gossip, there was a lot of bringing things back to managers and speaking to new staff and telling them things that was just causing frictions, and there was like a divide in the office. It was really bad, and I didn't realize that all of this was happening when I stepped into the office. These are issues that had been happening for years and hadn't really been addressed, and me stepping into that office and seeing all of this stuff had me questioning my competence, had me wondering how I was contributing to it and doubting my skills. And whether you're a manager, whether you're part of the team, it can have you start internalizing that dysfunction and having you wonder whether or not you too are part of the problem. And it's really important for you to know that you're not, and to acknowledge that you're in an environment that will feed off of you rather than support you to thrive. So when you recognize that you're in a toxic environment, what are some of the things that you can do to help you protect your peace? Firstly, you want to set boundaries. Boundaries, however, doesn't mean that you have these walls around you. Sorry, I can't even do walls because I'm holding onto the microphone. I've lost the clippy thing. Boundaries do not mean that you have a wall around you, because that too is toxic. Boundaries mean that there's clarity. When you're in a toxic environment, and this goes for work as well as any of your relationships, each time you say yes when you actually mean no is you training that person how to treat you. So protecting your peace in a toxic work environment where emails are being sent outside of working hours or on weekends and you're expected to jump at those kind of requests may look like you making it very clear that you will respond to those emails within working hours. It also looks like you calling out comments that might be inappropriate, and it will definitely look like you not taking part in comments that might be undermining or fueling the gossip that might be going around the office. An example of this is when I worked in corporate. I would lay out my diary with all the things that I needed, not just meetings, but prep time and my lunches and things like that. And Friday afternoons was the time when I reviewed the week and started looking at what was needed for the week ahead. I had a manager who decided that their review meeting with me was going to be Friday afternoons at about 3 o'clock. That did not work for me because by that time I'm winding down. And I spoke to their PA and said that those meetings at 3 o'clock do not work for me. Can I have it earlier? And I was asked, well, can you do it for this Friday because it's short notice and blah, blah, blah. So I agreed. And when the manager came onto the line, tone was quite confrontational. And the words were along the lines of, I understand that you don't want to speak to me today. And I said, it's not that I don't want to speak to you. Friday afternoons are important for me and my well-being. It's the time when I review my week. It's the time when I start planning the week ahead and start unwinding from a very tense and busy week. It's not the time where I'm going to be at my best to go into a meeting to get a new list of tasks. Thankfully, it was understood. I wasn't able to get the meeting moved away from Friday, unfortunately, but at least it was moved to earlier on in the day. But what that did for me with the question, with how the question was phrased and the tone, for a split second, I'm not in a position to have control of my own diary. I have to do what I'm being told, whether it's good for me or not. But thankfully, I was able to reinforce my boundaries with the manager, and they were able to understand that I will have a say in how I'm being handled going forward. And that's one of the things that you do have to understand if the toxicity may be coming from a manager, is understanding how to manage your manager. Every time you enforce a boundary, it sends a message that your energy has value and it's to be respected. And it's a way for you to stop overperforming and over functioning for other people, and you quietly take back your power. The second way that you can manage your energy within a toxic work environment is to manage your nervous system. Have you ever felt that quiet dread on a Sunday night when you know that the next day is Monday and you are not looking forward to it at all? Those toxic work environments will have you in that space where you're either in fight, flight, or freeze mode all of the time. You're in a constant state of tension and you feel drained and mentally exhausted, even if you haven't done a lot of work. You can't control the environment, but you can regulate yourself within it. In those spaces, breaks are important. If you're one of those people that work through your lunch hour and don't take breaks, you're actually making it worse. If you've had interactions that felt really tense, step outside. Take a break. There were times when I would leave meetings that were really tense and I would go stationery shopping. That's my thing. I'd go looking at notebooks and pens and come back with something beautiful. But you do need a way to decompress from those areas, and not just when you go home, but during the day as well. And because those environments make you question yourself, you have to continually reaffirm your worth. Toxic environments are designed to drain you. So pausing and taking time away from it is really important. Sometimes the most powerful thing that you can do is to step away for 5 minutes and remind yourself that you are not what this environment is, and you are not what this environment says you are. The third way that you can protect your energy in those toxic environments is to reconnect with your worth. Toxic workplaces thrive when you forget your value, when you keep proving and you're pleasing and you're over delivering just to be seen. Or you sit in that corner and you're quiet and you stop using your skills because you've just given up. I had a couple members of staff who were in the organization for longer than I was. And when I came into that team, trying to encourage them to move forward and look for promotions and go up to the next level, they had completely given up. But they were occupying seats, not happy about where they were. They had forgotten their worth. They no longer saw their value outside of the task that they were currently doing now. And we have to remember that our worth is not up for debate. And there were times when it felt like I was debating with them to tell them that you still have worth, you still have values. But toxic environments are designed for you to forget all of that. So you have to remind yourself who you are. You have to reconnect to your worth. I just realized why these mosquitoes are flying around me so much, and it's because I have a black top on. For whatever reason, they're always attracted to things that are really dark. It's really annoying. I can just see them crisscrossing across my face. So one of the ways that you can reconnect to your worth is to detach yourself from your job title. You are not your job title or other people's approval. You have to remind yourself that you were capable before this job, you are capable within it, and you are going to be capable after it. For many people, they are in that space and they feel that this is the be all and the end all and it's where they're going to be. Never get into those spaces and feel that you've just reached the pinnacle. This is not it, can never be it, will never be it. You are worth so much more. And this is why a reminder that if you poured into yourself as much as you poured into your job, where would you be? Those are the things that we have to remind ourselves of. And those are the ways that we can reconnect with our worth. When you start honoring your worth from an internal space, you stop feeling that you have to validate yourself externally from people and an environment that benefits from you playing small. The fourth way to protect your energy in toxic environments is an option that many people don't look at, and it's knowing when to leave. A lot of people do not look at this as an option because they see it as a failure. You've hit difficult times. You're having to prove yourself. You're feeling as if you're not good enough. To leave is sometimes seen as a failure, but that is sometimes one of the best ways that you can protect your energy from a space that does not deserve you. You waste, literally squander your energy if you are staying in a space thinking it's going to get better or I'm going to fix it, rather than making the decision to walk away. When you start feeling that dread on a Sunday because you're not looking forward to Monday and that week ahead, it may start in your mind, but it's eventually going to start eroding your health, your confidence, and your identity. You have to identify those feelings for what they are. They are not growth opportunities. It's a warning sign that it is time for you to leave. And as I said, leaving is not defeat. If you leave with intention and a plan, you are leaving with your next chapter secure and your peace protected. Whether it's moving into a different department, whether it's going to a different company, whether it's starting your own business, leaving can be one of the most powerful boundaries that you put in place. It signifies totally that you have chosen yourself, that you will no longer allow yourself to remain in situations that are not capable of pouring into you, but are draining your life force. It is not a weakness for leaving, but it's a wise choice when you realize that there is no job or relationship that is worth your sanity. I always put in relationship there because toxic jobs and toxic relationships actually work the same, and it's because we don't always protect our boundaries in either of them. That's when you know that you've chosen freedom, when you decide that your well-being is non-negotiable. So any environment that we're in, we need to be able to thrive rather than just be in a space where we're surviving. When we realize that we have a short space on this planet, it makes it easier for us to make the choices that put us at the forefront rather than other people. And that's for our career, that's for our business, and that's for our life. It's important that you honor your energy and you protect your peace. That way, you get to own your wings. If this resonated with you, let me know in the comments how you are going to protect your peace going forward. I'd love to hear from you. Until the next video, bye.